I'm Ethan Nagel, Scout.
Broadcasting live from the basement of the Pentagon. This is WTF Nation Radio.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
You said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Oh, yeah! Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence. You guys, you notice we're doing little things different now. We had to do a little delay there. Some of my gear was glitching. So, but that's not going to stop the show. So we're doing it in reverse. We're going to have our guests come on first, and then we're going to do monologue, diatribe, ranting and raving, crying and complaining after our guests depart. So, hey, real quick, I just want to welcome our guest, Jeffrey Wilson. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you being here.
Oh, dude, I apologize for the tech, but then again, we started talking about Tom Clancy, and the next thing you know, all the tech started glitching and all that. I don't know if I'm not trying to say that he had something involved, but Jeffrey Wilson, author of Sons of Valor, Dark Rising. Welcome to WTF Nation Radio, man. How you doing?
It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me for sure, man. I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing.
Oh, awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, geez. What is there to say about me? I'm the, the brains behind the Andrews and Wilson, right? Because Brian's not here, so I get to be whatever I want to be. Both of us are Navy veterans. Andrews and Wilson is the brand we write under, as you know. And I'm a Navy veteran like Brian. Brian's a submarine officer. I was a combat surgeon with Naval Special Warfare on the JSOC side for a number of years. And after that, spent some time in some of those spooky joint interagency things.
Yeah.
And now I sit in my underwear on my porch and write books about the good guys. So it all kind of worked out, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, just to throw a disclaimer out there, I am currently in my Ranger panties right now while we're broadcasting, so kind of the same thing.
You're young enough to know what TMI means, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I got to be open and transparent with my audience, because one time my audience was like, "Are you wearing any underwear?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, shut up." Yeah, no, the NSW world and that side of the SOCOM side is definitely nice and nice and spooky and very very. I don't want to say it's like it's intriguing. You know what I mean? Just when you get into the weeds of what you can and can't do, as opposed to what fleet does or what regular Army does, and you're just like, wow, man, this is some interesting stuff. So, what got you into doing this?
The writing or the military? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, kind of both. I mean, I guess you'd say it's a calling, right? I mean, you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, the military side of my life is like that's just like a DNA thing. I think my dad was an Air Force fighter pilot. My uncle was a Marine. We've got, and it's not just about military, but it's about service. I think I was just raised that you sort of serve something bigger than yourself if your life is going to have any meaning. And I guess I took it pretty seriously. So I went from being a firefighter paramedic to joining some other parts of the federal government and then eventually the Navy. So I just feel like I would never was happier than when I was serving something. You know what I mean? It didn't have to be the Navy, didn't have to be my community, just serving something,
right.
Serving your family, your community, your church, whatever it is. And I, to be honest, the writing side of it, well, first of all, for me, it's been part of my life, my whole life. I wrote my first short story when I was like 12 or 13 years old and published when I was 14. So I've always been a writer. But to me, the writing, especially now with the Andrews and Wilson brand, has really just become an extension of that desire to serve. Like it sounds tropey. It sounds like something you say when you're talking on on a podcast or a radio interview, but it's another way to serve. Like we take, Brian and I both, very seriously the responsibility of sharing with the world some little vision of the service and sacrifice of that 1% that go out there on the pointy tip of the spear. So we do look at what we do. It's certainly entertainment and it's certainly entertaining to do, but there is a responsibility to reflect our brothers and sisters in a way that honors them and what they do and what their families do. So it was kind of a natural extension of everything else I did, I guess.
Now, did you have at least, I mean, okay, like a little bit of a, I don't want to say if it's an internal ethical line, but like, okay, I can't write about this, but I gotta say something. I gotta end around, say something about this. Have you ever been in those situations?
That's a great question, right? And anybody that says if it's not partly a conflict for you, then you're either not doing it well or you're a sociopath. So, but I will say there's two sides to that, actually. There's sort of there's a political side, and then there's a geopolitical and military side. On the political side, it's been relatively easy for us to be, what's the best term? We're relatively politically agnostic. Like in our books, you never hear a party named. We believe very strongly, I personally believe very strongly, that even with as divided as our nation is, you don't have to be a genius to figure out where we would fall on the spectrum of left and right. But even with the division, 95% of us agree on 95% of stuff. You know what I mean? And the 5% gets so much noise and it gets so much attention that it divides neighbors, it divides families, it divides friends. And we want almost desperately not to be a part of that. You know, you're a military guy, you're a special operations guy, so you get that. Like I don't remember having any really in-depth arguments about politics and partisanship and any of that. Like you were serving the brother and sister next to you, you were serving the nation and your family back home, and the rest of it was just sort of bullshit. Like it was noise. And so we try very hard not to get into that. But I do think that what we write about resonates with everybody. It's a hero's journey. It's about, a hero's arc of patriotism and serving something bigger than themselves, whether it's their family or their brothers out there on the front line. So that part's easy. The other part, that's a little trickier, right? Having served in the JSOC community, we take very, very seriously OPSEC even now. I mean, it's been a minute or two since I've been out there, right? So, but there's still stuff that you don't want to cause any problems. Our first book had to be reviewed, and it flew through the review because we take that very seriously. And what we've learned is that you don't need to betray little tiny details that kind of in the long run don't matter if you really just reflect the characters appropriately. If you show people the way our brothers and sisters are, serving each other and that sort of thing, you make it about relationship and sacrifice and service, then the fact that you fictionalize the location of a unit or how they deploy or troop strengths or how many squadrons are in this unit or that unit, nobody really cares. They really care about the people and the service. The geopolitic, we do tend to focus on pretty heavily. We're both avid readers. We follow geopolitics. I mean, it's an occupational hazard. I'm sure you do the same thing. Like, you just can't help yourself, right?
Yeah, of course.
You can't help yourself but sit and watch the news and go, I wonder what really happened.
Yes,
I know what we would have said, right?
Yes, we would have said or done, or who we would say.
Exactly.
Or I would have, if I was king for a day, I would have sent these guys and this guys and would have done that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. So it's inevitable that you get into some of that, but we really do work very, very hard to make sure that we sterilize things to the point where they're still fun and interesting and exciting for the reader, but no one that we still love that's still out there is going to say, hey, dude, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, you know what I mean? So that's a pretty important part for us.
You could just watch a certain specific podcast and I asked the question, bro, what are you saying? I was like, dude, I was there. Shut up. And
it's pretty easy to do, actually, if you rely on open source, right? So it's actually, you're really not that limited if you just go to open source stuff and say, okay, here's what I know. Does anyone else know that? And you can look it up. And if there's been like 2 years of conversation about it, well, I'm not going to feel that guilty throwing it into a fictional novel. Right. But there is still some stuff out there that, you want to protect. So.
No, of course. I totally understand, especially when it comes to specifics. Cause I know in the work that I've done, everyone's like, well, how did you do? I'm like, oh yeah, well, because this
You're
sort of
right.
stuff that if I talk about it openly, and I'm pretty sure in the way some of the writing style that you understand too is that if you've thought of it, then your adversary has thought about it 5 times already, and different ways to do it, and against you. You know what I mean? So you're just giving
Right. And you think about that,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
so we wrote a book. We had a book 2 years we wrote before the invasion of Ukraine, called Collateral. And, in that book, just like you would have done, because it's not that hard to figure out, right?
Mhm.
So we had Russia invade Ukraine through a false flag operation using the Wagner group. And it's like, so the book comes out, and like 6 months later, all this stuff happens.
Yep.
And I swear, I remember my wife saying, dude, like, you don't think like Putin like read your book, right?
Yes.
You're like, no.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh no,
But look, there's, what you know, and there's only so many ways that the bad guys act, and you sort of know how they act. And so that part we don't really worry about too much. But when you do things right and you take it seriously, and you get that reputation, in the end, it all circles around and helps you out, right? So when we got invited to write the Clancy books, the Jack Ryan books, we reached out to the Navy and said, hey, listen, we went through the NavInfo East, the PAO office there, the central office, and said, look, we want to re-engage Clancy the way Clancy did it. We want to bring the big Navy back. We want to start sharing with America how proud they should be of what our warriors do and all that stuff, and get away from some of the covert ops stuff. And the Navy, because of the reputation we had built, embraced us. And I mean, it was incredible. They took us out to sea in a Virginia class submarine. They flew us out to the Ford. We got to fly F-18 simulators, but mostly what we got to do was sit with subject matter experts from E2s and 3s up to 3-star admirals that we had unfettered access to. And as a result, we are now, with the Navy's help, able to reflect those men and women that we love and respect so much in a way that benefits the Navy, benefits the country. People get to see a glimpse. Look, this is what it's like. But they know we're not going to give stuff away. You know what I mean?
Right.
They can let us sit in CIC on the Ford or in combat on a sub, and they know we're not going to betray the trust that they've given us. So I think we earned that through being honorable people, and now we get to have that advantage as we tell stories.
Yeah. Oh, I'd take advantage of it too. How would
Plus, it's fun, dude.
I was about to say, yeah, and you can kind of like, wow, I remember this shit, man. And then you kind of look back, damn, how come I didn't get to do this? They're doing this,
right?
You're kind of like getting a little jealous of what the troops are doing now. You're like, God, this is like fun. Oh, it's the same thing with me when I hang out with my former troops, or I hang out with the kids back at Bragg, and I just said it. I just said the faux pas, and we always make fun of people who say back at Bragg. So I just said it. So I hang out with the troops, my former line of work, and they. Some of the work that they're doing is just stuff that you would read about in one of your novels. You're like, God, these kids are doing this. They're doing on. That's what I'm talking about. Do you ever hear like some of the stuff from the fleet that possibly, hey, would it be okay to put this in a book, or can I write this TTP down? Do you get that on-site feedback without dropping dimes, but without
without getting too much in the weeds? Yes, we get to appreciate both sides of that coin, right? Like, so we now have people in the various communities. We actually wrote a book called this last Clancy book, Defense Protocol. We made SWOs look sexy. Like we feel like that's our big claim to fame. And so we've got people in every community that we can say, hey, what about this? What about that? And we see the reverse too. These guys are now like, when we go out there, we always say to the junior sailors all the way up through the command, how do you want us to reflect your community? And you wouldn't believe how they light up. They're like, little stuff, right? Yeah. Like, well, look, if you could just do this, make sure that if you have a rider come aboard a submarine, talk about how they always steal our shit and they're always drinking our coffee. And they're like, the little things that give a lot of realism. It just means a lot to these dudes. And it also has given us the opportunity to honor some people that have been really kind to us by dropping some names. We've had some important people that we worked with that said, hey, would you mind making my daughter like one of the characters. And so we've named some characters. We've been able to develop a lot of relationships. And so it's been a two-way street. They know what they want to see. They want what they want America to see and learn about what they do. And we get to say, hey, how about this? So it's been a two-way street on that side of it, really.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. For character development, though, is there like in your series of books, is there a specific character that rolls through the entire, like, do you have what, like Tom Clancy obviously is a Jack Ryan book.
Yeah.
So do you have, just like how you have Jack Ryan, is there like Sons of Valor 4 or Dark Rising? Are there any pivotal characters that you have
Yeah, for sure,
that go through the series itself?
Yeah. So our tentpole series, what we started off with was the Tier 1 series.
Gotcha.
Excuse me. So the 9th book in that series, Dempsey, or Ember rather, just came out. The 10th book is going to come out later this year. And that book, the Sons of Valor series, is actually a spin-off of that series. There was a minor character named Chunk, Keith Redman, who is this Navy SEAL officer who's a very minor character and appears with this Joint Interagency Task Force a few times. We got so much fan mail about him that we were like, we should give this guy his own thing, right? And so the premise of Tier 1 is that the entire JSOC SEAL team gets wiped out because of leaked information.
Oh, wow.
And then it's been the sole survivor is recruited and changes his name and joins a task force to hunt down the people that did it. And that character is John Dempsey. So Dempsey is our Mitch Rapp, if you will. So he's the one that has been the central character in the Tier 1 series. In Sons of Valor, we had this minor character in Tier 1, the SEAL that popped up in a few books, in a couple chapters, and the fans loved him. Like we get as much email about him as we did almost anybody.
Oh, wow.
So in the real world, obviously, if something happened to the JSOC unit, they'd stand it back up. And so we had the opportunity with our publisher to spin off a series based on that idea. What happens when they reconstitute this JSOC unit?
Oh, wow.
And we were like, well, we got to put Chunk in there. So Chunk Redman is the officer in charge of the squadron that we feature in the JSOC SEAL team in the Sons of Valor series. And then there's Whitney Watts is a female intelligence specialist who partners with him. They're sort of the heroes, and they go through all the books, just like Clancy. Now, interestingly, Clancy is kind of an interesting thing because, I don't know how much of the books you've read or if you've seen the Krasinski series that is a whole different version of it. But in the books, Jack Ryan is the president, right? And he has been you don't even have to talk about the fiction of how long he's been the president. But if you're going to write some exciting military thrillers and your main protagonist is the president, you've really handcuffed yourself, right? Like he's not fast roping into any hot LZs or whatever.
He would be then a secondary character after that, right?
Exactly.
And yet making the Yoda of the book or something like that.
Dude, exactly. That was, so when we got invited into the series, we were the first book that we were offered by the estate to write was Act of Defiance, which happened to fall on the 40th anniversary of Hunt for the Red October. And so we're like, look, if we're going to do this, and Brian's a submarine officer, right? So we're like, if we're going to do this, we want to find the perfect balance between the nostalgia of the original series and new contemporary stuff. And doing that with Jack Ryan as president was a real challenge because what I loved, what you probably remember being in love with in the early books was he wasn't that guy. He wasn't a door kicker. He was just like this analyst, and like he was in the wrong place. And he was kind of like, I'm just an analyst.
Exactly.
Right?
What am I doing here? Why are you talking to me?
What am I doing here?
Yeah, well, we want you to go. Yeah, Admiral Greer, send his ass out. Admiral Greer can send him out.
Exactly. And that was the magic. That was what made it work.
Yeah.
But, well, you can't do that with the president. So what we were able to do in the Ryan series,
or can you?
Or can you? Yeah. So what we did was one of his children in the books, the last time you heard from her, Katie Ryan, was like 6 or 7 years old and almost kidnapped and all that. So we got permission from the estate to grow her up over the time. She's now a Naval Academy graduate and a intelligence officer at ONI.
That is badass.
And she becomes our sort of
new
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Analog.
Oh, that's badass.
Right.
That is badass. Send her over to the schoolhouse and have her become like a SWIC.
There you go.
Yeah, or something like that. Because I work with SBT-22, and then did some guest instructor training at NAV Ski Yachts out of Stennis. And
Cool.
those guys are, I mean, top notch. I've also worked with a couple of them deployed, and top notch, man. I mean, there was always, it's almost kind of like you always think about, oh, well, you know, SEALs, but then I'm like, yeah, but have you ever been on a SOC R? Have you ever been on with the boat teams? Those guys are just, I mean, incredible. So yeah, that right there. I mean, of course, that would be my own tangent, was to make her a SWIC or something like that. But no, that's somebody in the comments says, I mean, they did make a movie with Abe Lincoln as a vampire hunter. So there we go.
Right. Yeah. They can do that.
Yeah. Well, of course, there's we don't know exactly that. We don't know what Abe Lincoln could have done, in secret societies and stuff like that. So did the how do I say this without getting people like on the spot? Did other entities, how about that worked in the specialized fields add input to that? Add any type of input to that?
Yeah. So we were able to, we still have personal connections and relationships in those communities, and the Navy facilitated some additional relationships. We developed a very close relationship with Vice Admiral Kohler and Vice Admiral Trussler. Both are former, directors of naval intelligence, and one, it was a DNI, the big DNI, and their connections that they were able to share with us so that we could vet out some ideas. And a lot of that stuff is just like, we know what we know, but we're smart enough to know what we don't know.
Right.
And so that's when you take a chapter and you say, Admiral Trussler, if you're not too busy, would you just read this and tell me all the things that are stupid here? And they do, right? Yeah. And they're like, they're always very gentle, but they're like, oh, let me connect you to this guy or that guy. So that's been a gold mine for us to just be able to get things right, because as a veteran, your biggest nightmare is that you write something stupid, right?
Oh, yeah.
And somebody's going to say, dude, you're right. So it's been really good for all of our series. There, in addition to Clancy, we now have those relationships that help us with the other series as well. So it's been awesome.
Are your novels Navy centric, or are they JSOC centric? What's the
it depends on the,
like how you said about
we're both
fleet. So I was just wondering if you were big Navy. Do you do big?
We're both Navy, so we tend to, there is that, but we definitely try to keep an eclectic mix of characters in the Tier 1 series.
Gotcha.
We've definitely had some Army special operators. We've had some MARSOC guys. We do have one former female SWIC NCO that's part of the task force now.
Nice.
So I think the fair thing to say would be we tend to err towards Navy because it's easy, because we know it.
Right.
But we're trying to be pretty eclectic and represent all the communities as best we can, and non-DoD communities. FBI, HRT has been featured in some of our stuff, and some of the other agencies. DIA we featured heavily. I just happen to have worked with a lot of those guys, so I have a little insight there. But so yeah, we try to be fair. We try to play with everybody.
That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your new novel coming out, or your most recent one, I should say, Dark Rising. Right?
Yeah,
that's one.
So cool. Dark Rising, that's a special series for us. So that's the 4th book in that series. The first one being Dark Intercept. The Shepherd series, it's funny because people always say, wow, you did such a pivot. It's so different with all this, sort of speculative spiritual warfare and faith-based stuff. It's what's funny is when they say that, I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way, because, to me, the faith element, wherever you fall on your faith, it's a universal experience to ask the questions. Right. And so sure, our characters came up with their own answers. I have my own answers. But if you've written 32 novels and no one's ever talked about it at all, that's actually more fictitious than anything we came up with in the Shepherds. Like, these are just natural human existence, not just for the military, but for anybody. Like, why am I here? Is there a God? What's his role in the universe? So in that series, we're able to delve into that in a pretty gritty way. It's when people hear that it's a, quote, Christian series, they tend to go, but this is not like a woman with a bonnet on the back of a wagon. This is like, some gritty, kick-ass special operations stuff. So we were able to combine sort of what we do in Tier 1 and in Jack Ryan and Sons of Valor with some of those more speculative, angels and demons kind of stuff. It's a really, really, really fun series. And Dark Rising is the 4th book in that series. Those people that have read the first 3, we definitely left things open for what would happen next. It took us 3 books to get rid of a main antagonist. and there's a vacuum there that needs to be filled. So Dark Rising, the title sort of implies that the dark forces need to rise again with a new leader, and we delve into that in this book. But that book features Jedediah Johnson, who is so sorry, but a former Navy SEAL. What's fun about that series compared to all the others, all of our other books, like most military thrillers, you meet these Mitch Rapps and John Dempsey and all these guys. They're at the peak of their game, right? He's a JSOC senior chief or whatever he is. Jed Johnson in Dark Intercept, the first book in Shepherds, we did something completely different. He is the most broken character we've ever started with. Like, he's medically retiring. He's physically broken. You can get this. He's about to leave his brotherhood.
Whoa,
He doesn't know what his...
whoa. Wait, bro, broken up, retired. You can get this, Ken.
You get the part where when you leave service, a big part of your identity is ripped from you, right? Like,
no, I was just breaking balls, but no, you're
right. I get it. So this guy, he's spiritually broken. He doesn't know what he believes anymore. He's emotionally broken. He's lost his brotherhood. He's broken physically. So he's a really different character to sort of elevate into a main protagonist action thriller. Right. But I think we were successful in doing it. I really love this series. It's one of my favorite series.
Is he an unexpected, just like Jack Ryan, an unexpected guy that just jumps in there and, holy crap, why am I, as a retired guy, I'm getting too old for this shit kind of mentality?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like there's the whole, well, what do you even need me for? I'm a Navy SEAL. I'm not a detective. I can't. So it starts out with him finding this missing girl who's the daughter of his high school best friend and former girlfriend. They're now married and have a kid. And he's like, what am I even doing here? I didn't like these people anymore. And I'm not, so there's a lot of that. It was a lot of fun.
When you think about it, though, in some situations while you served, I know I have, we talk about stuff like that. We talk about a little bit of spirituality. You're like, dude, did you hear about that guy? He did this. And everyone's like, this system should have failed, or his equipment should have done this, and he just miraculously made it through. And you're like, and all of a sudden everyone gets quiet and we're like, nah, no, come on, man. Is it that, what if it was like some, of course the Latino, side of the house would be like, what if it was Santeria? What if it was, or somebody else goes, ooh, what if it was some sort of Masonic thing? Everyone starts getting all the, I don't want to say a conspiracy theory, but you start thinking about spirituality when you hear about these extraordinary events happening to people and they make it through and you're like, there's no way there's, they should.
And almost all of us have those stories. I'm sure you have some. I know I have some. Yep. I can tell you when Dark Intercept came out, a buddy of mine, I actually lead a men's military ministry at a large church in Tampa as sort of my collateral duty these days. So I had a guy that was in this group of mine who's actually an Army, he's a Green Beret, former SF guy. And he came to me after the book came out. He said, hey, we got to grab a coffee. He's like, hey, man, I got to tell you this story. And he told me this story about him and a buddy, or his unit, his team was in Iraq. They were supposed to go find this HVT inside a mosque. And there was, you've been here, is like this holding pattern, right? It's like, is he there? Is he not there? And they're holding security down the road in this shitty little ville. And him and a buddy are like right out front of the mosque. And then two other guys out at the corners. And he's like literally right out front on a knee. And all of a sudden, he's like, I need to move. Then he's like looking around, is it my spidey sense? We all talk about that.
Yeah.
But he looks around, he's like, there's nothing going on. He's like, what? I don't understand. But it was overwhelming, this need to move. And he's like, well, I don't know, which way would I even go? And he looks up and there's these birds. This is weird, dude. So I apologize in advance. But
no, go ahead.
There's all these birds on this power line and they all fly off. And there's like 25 or 30 black crows. And they all go off in one direction, and this one white bird goes the other way. And he's like, I'll go that way. So he tells his teammate, he's like, hey, we got to move this way. He goes, no, dude, we're supposed to stay right here. He goes, no, we need to move. We got to go now. And he just starts moving. The guy follows him. 5 seconds after they step out of the blast zone, an explosive goes off and takes out the entire front facade of the mosque. Right where they were standing, they would have been vaporized.
Yeah.
And at the time, the guy was like, he's embraced his faith now. At the time, he was like zero faith. So it was just this like, what the hell just happened story. And he said, I never told that story to anybody until I read your book. And then there was this one little scene that is very similar to that.
Yeah.
So we all have that story, right?
Yeah.
And so it's a normal thing to ask these questions, and we just sort of had fun with the answers.
No, oh, that's that. Yeah, I could tell you some stories. Oh man, I could tell you some stories. So at all, what's the future of, I mean, you got any more books coming out? You got anything in development currently right now?
So we our business model when we started out was, look, we're just going to write a lot of good stuff. We're going to throw it all out there, and if a couple of them stick, then we'll be able to do this for a living. And the blessing and curse of our success has been that everything's sold. So we've been through this little stage where we had to write 4 books a year. So we literally had to complete a novel every 14 weeks or so. So we're just getting at the end of that, and we're cutting back a little bit. So we have a total of 4 books coming out this year. Dark Rising, as you mentioned, it just came out. We have a book, The Sons of Valor IV, False Flag. Very excited about that one. There's a lot of stuff that fans have been asking for in there about, what happens next in that series. So that one's coming out. And then we have the 10th book in the Tier 1 series, which is tentatively called not False Flag. That was Sons of Valor 4. So, The Adversary, that comes out in the fall. And people are going to get to learn more about what's going on with John Dempsey's son. And then our 3rd book in the Jack Ryan series comes out in December. So, yeah, there's always another book coming out in a minute, pretty much all the time.
I was about to say, yeah.
And now we got all this, as you may be aware, we got a lot of Hollywood stuff now. So
yeah, I was about to ask you. Just that you answered go ahead. I'll let you lead in. My question was going to be any book deals with any major studios to put it on film.
Yeah. So the Tier 1 series is set up at Legendary. Good friends of ours, Peter Johnson and Marcus Blakely, already attached to produce. We've got showrunner, we've got writer, and so it's moving very quickly with Legendary. Awesome. The Shepherd series is also in development for television. And then I don't know if you remember this one, we had a book called 4 Minutes, which is a speculative time travel thriller.
Yes.
That is in development with Mark Evans as a feature film now.
Dude, so. I like that type of genre of what if, visionary futurism type stuff. And you're like, whoa, what if, and now the way warfare is happening, the what ifs are like happening. We're experiencing right now.
Yeah, it's like a week in the future, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's so fun. Yeah, 100%. If you don't have 4 minutes, I'll get one to you, man. Let me know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, for sure. So what? I don't want to mess with your compadre there.
Why not? That's what I want to do.
No, I don't want to mess with him. I was just gonna say, what is he? I mean, notice you have some books that are just with you, and then you have other books that are with him. Does he still assist a little bit? Tell us.
So we are a true co-author team. So we write. We are 100% collaborative. We equally write books. The books that I had a book come out recently that was a solo work, but it was a book I had written a couple years ago. So the schedule being what it is, the only thing we can do is Andrews and Wilson properties. There's no time to write solo works now. He's got a few solo works. His book Reset was one of my favorite books I ever read. So we started out as solo novelists, but there's just literally no time to do that anymore. I do miss it a little bit, but we can't buck the system at this point.
No, I hear you. No, because I know it's got to be hard too to, once you get on a roll, to kind of like have some sort of deconfliction. You're kind of like, hey, are you, it's like, I don't want to say you guys, I don't know, maybe you do. Do you guys argue sometimes when a character overlaps when you're writing something, or is it just you guys have a natural flow of it?
It's a natural flow. Everyone thinks we make it up. We've never had an argument that I can remember. There have been times where we have a difference of opinion,
right?
And our rule has always been, look, you feel strongly about it, and I'm sort of on the fence. Let's just go with yours, because it's not surgery. Like we can change our mind. Like if it doesn't work out, we'll just switch it back.
Yeah, it's a freaking book, by the way. So,
right, exactly. And I don't think we've ever had to go back and change it. So it always just sort of, it's very much that DNA we were talking about at the beginning, that team and mission before self. It's just you don't drive an $8 billion submarine with one dude. You don't fast rope into a hot zone just to get a guy by yourself. It's a team thing, and we just sort of do it that way.
Now, in some of I know you gotta leave in a few. Have you said something to Hollywood and say, hey, look, dude, that right there, even our guys, even the people that we spoke to, come on, we understand creative liberty, but Jesus, dude, this is not going to happen that way. Have you ever have you ever had those conversations?
So we have the advantage of everything that we sell when we contract our stuff. We one of the rules is we have to be attached as executive producer, because it's our intellectual property. Our name is on it, and we want to make sure it's done correctly.
Of course.
And so we've had the blessing of being connected to guys who take that seriously. So we're not doing. I love the crazy Transformers and Michael Bay, and I love that stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not our type of storytelling. I enjoy watching it, but what we do is, very dependent on kind of getting things right. And they've always been really good about keeping us at the table. We get to look at scripts. We get to work with the writers. Sometimes we actually write the script. So we're very involved in making sure that the quality of what happens is there.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you think about just hitting up Michael Bay and hitting up those guys and say, hey, I got a story for you. Maybe you can have Optimus Prime get involved or something like this. Because he's back. If you heard, he's back.
I did hear he's back.
He's back in the Transformers world.
Remy Adeliki's a good friend of mine who's was involved in those. Yeah, and he's look, Michael, if you're listening,
exactly,
we'll work it out.
Exactly,
call me. We'll work it out.
Exactly, Wilson, roll out. Do you have anything to say to the audience? As we've been speaking, I've been dropping links, by the way, of your website and posting it on Twitter while we've been talking.
Look, man, the only thing we have to ever say is, especially this month, right? It's Military Appreciation Month. Thank a veteran, but do me a favor, thank their spouse. I can tell you, my wife's job was way harder than mine. The sacrifice is real, and the scars that they bring home are unseen, and they're real. So please take a minute this summer, especially on the 4th of July, as you're grateful for the freedoms that you have. Thank a veteran and thank their family for the sacrifices that they make. If you do nothing else for Andrews and Wilson, do that. That's it.
Amen to that. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a break because Jeff's got to take off in a second. And so I'm going to catch up with him at the end. And then, so like I said, this is a reverse show. So diatribes and monologues and crying and complaining.
It's still coming.
It's still, we're still doing it. so exactly. Smoke if you got him, hit the head, hit the latrine, and we'll be right back. So stand by.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
A soldier's tale of wild misdeeds, from the chow hall to the PT grind. You won't believe the things you'll find. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private tensions far from the norm, in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army WTF you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. A Humvee stuck in the mud so deep. A midnight rain, no time for sleep. Emerge straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. Drill sergeant's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm, in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army WTF you can't deny. Army of the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos, the truth is told. From the field to the base, the legends grow. Army of the force, the madness we know. The mud so deep, a midnight rain, no time for sleep. Emerge straight like gold in hand. The strangest sights in this foreign land. agent's rage, a fiery storm. Private antics far from the norm in the shadows where the secrets lie. Army WTF you can't deny. Army double the stories unfold. In the heart of the chaos the truth is told. From the field to the base the legends grow. Army double the fourth, the madness we know. In the ranks where the wildlings roam, every soldier's got a tale of their own. From the absurd to the downright strange, Army double the fourth, it never will change. She'll raise a glass to the tales untold. In the Army's world where the brave and bold live the moments that make us say, Army double the fourth every single day.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing. Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
From the Functional Veterans Center of Excellence on this 30 June 2025 in the year of our book writing empire. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he was a good guest. Was a good guest. He's a good guest. That's what I'm talking about. That's some real. I'm telling you, man, we could have kept going. Jeff. Hanging out, shooting the breeze, coming to find out we've got some mutuals, some friends and stuff like that. So mutual friends and all that. So again, a shout out for him coming on board. Andrews and Wilson, New York Times bestselling author behind Tier 1, Sons of Valor Shepherds, and Tom Clancy's Defense Protocol. Tom Clancy novel, a Jack Ryan novel. I'm gonna tell you what, that's some good stuff, man. I mean, of course, Navy stuff, but that's not bad. Navy's fun. Like I said, I've deployed and hung out with some. I have Navy brethren, so that's really awesome that they were able to come on and or he was able to come on and shoot the breeze. So Jeff Wilson, Andrews and Wilson. So, all right. So remember what I was saying? We did a show flip, so this is gonna be kind of weird. So now everybody can go and stop sending me DMs. Are you going to talk about this? Are you talking about? If you guys know, that's when we have our guest first, and that's when we do our diatribes, rants, complaints, whining, grinding, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So what do we get talking about? Hey, real quick, if you guys know, yesterday, actually tracking yesterday, there was an active shooter. There was that was shooting at firefighters, killed 2, injured others, and just let you know that individual's been neutralized. And I mean, the story was developing so fast. I kind of want to we've already talked about it. It's already been posted. It's already been all over the media. So for me, unless there's anything that's a different development, then that's the only time I guess you would say we would probably not, talk. And I'm not saying we're not avoiding the topic. It's just it's about all over the news. And if you see all the news and all the discussions, the political side of it, and of course everyone's like, we need to ban guns, we need to do, and you're like, dude, whatever. That's not the way to go. And so the alleged Idaho sniper was ID'd as 20-year-old Wes Rowley. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna post all the drama of his identity and all that. But I will say that our prayers go to the family of the ones that were killed and the ones that are injured out on that mountainside. But it was pretty. Everyone, of course, is throwing their conspiracy theories and their tinfoil out and all that. Why? Who was there? Everyone likes to run down this route. Happened on a specific day of a specific anniversary. Man, it's almost like a book, like a novel. Oh, because of this. So that's pretty much what we're gonna. That's all I really got to say about it. I mean, that it happened and it was fucked up and yeah, exactly. Inventing new sins. What do you mean by that, Susan? I'm sorry. You talking about just new events happening? But yeah, dude, that scene played out pretty fucking bad. There's another story that's out that, yes, we talked about it. Again, not really Monday edition news and discussion stuff, but there was have you guys heard about a cruise ship, a Disney cruise ship? A child went overboard, and a father dived in to attempt to rescue, and the father did rescue the child. His dad jumped in and dad doing dad things. I think I'm gonna put some video up here for a minute there. And so let's see. I think this is what is this on here? So I don't want to get too in the weeds. I'm just catching up on all the news that everyone's asking in the comments. Are you going to talk about this? Are you going to talk about that? Yep, we're going to talk about that. There you go. So this is just some footage here. Oh yeah, agreed, Susan. Yeah, attacking firefighters. That's not this. Yeah. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. That's what you meant by new sins. Yeah, that's like the lowest of the low. Firefighters are unarmed. They go into a scene to assist, and so when you take shots at them, that's like the lowest. You're freaking scum. But anyways, here's a video of the rescue, and I guess they were pretty far out. There you go, right there. There's 3 like arch rings right there. And you can see them right there. Let's see. I want to play some sound here for a second. Hang on, so we can listen together. Just watch.
It looks like 2 people.
This is from somebody's post that was shared on social media. There you go. Obviously, they're obscuring the child's identity. That's what dads do, man. Right there. There we go. That's so awesome. So awesome the story played out like that. Need some good news like that. Exactly that. Yeah, exactly like that. PIQ. It's what a dad. That's what I'm talking about. That's what dads do. So, family's okay. I mean, from what we got from the details of the story that people have been posting about it. So again, oh man, that's incredible story. Incredible story. I don't know. I'm not much of a cruise person, anyways, and you know, I got a little one that is curious as hell. So he'll do a bunch of you know. I'm afraid he'll make the boat do something wrong or whatever. But yeah. So the story is that the father reportedly jumped in the ocean the moment he realized his daughter was gone over. Captain slowed the ship and turned it around, and then deployed a tender ship with people on to go get them. Quote, I saw the mother crying, and when they rescued him, I think it was when the tears really started flowing because you were just so overjoyed and knowing that I prayed to God to save them, and he did, said another person. Disney Cruise has since responded to the incident. We commend our crew members for their exceptional skills and prompt actions, which ensured the safe return of both guests to the ship within minutes. We are committed to the safety and well-being of our guests, and this incident highlights the effectiveness of our safety protocols. Well, good on you, Disney Cruises. That's what I'm talking about. Connection is be funny. Is the connection being funny? Let's see. Oh, I think it might be local. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it looks like we're broadcasting 5x5. So let's see. Yeah. Anyhow, so the next big story that's been happening that everyone's talking about. Oh, okay, PIQ. Well, I'm glad you could say that's been posting lately all over the webs, and we posted on the timeline. And is beards. Stories about beards. Stories about the Army. Military.com posted a story about a new policy that's coming out or is being developed. A policy that's not been published just yet. And again, military media, they will at least tell you, hey, we got this story coming out and this is going to blah, blah, blah. Everyone seems to be speculating on what is happening or what is not happening. But I will say this. If somebody somebody brought it up. Somebody brought up to me that it's basically abuse of the policy and abuse of the policy. I get it. I know that there's probably some individuals that have been, abused the shaving, or what the Navy calls the shaving chit, or the Air Force, they call it the shaving. Matter of fact, let me just open up the screen here so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So the policy is, man, my cookies are going nuts ever since I started researching some of the stuff that happened with some land development stuff. So the Army's preparing to roll out a new policy that could lead soldiers with diagnosed with a chronic skin condition that causes painful razor bumps and scarring to be kicked out of the service, an issue that's disproportionately affects black men. Now, everybody who likes to talk about saying, no, this is good beards and the gas thing, because we've already seen reports that the gas mask, there's no matter with the seal. Everyone likes to make up their own shit. There's even been some military influencers that have been for and for against. Other was like old school Big Sarge. It's how do I say this? It's pretty obvious that specifically who has this condition, pseudofolliculitis barbae, which is PFB or razor bumps, that to me is it's giving bad optics, let's put it that way. And everyone's like, oh, they're just razor bumps. I mean, why can't they shave? You guys, have you ever served with black soldiers before, black male soldiers at all? Have you not seen, and even some Latinos as well, they'll have this condition as well. But the majority of it's black soldiers. And if you've really seen what this can do in its worst cases, and I literally have been to the where I was like, dude, just don't fucking shave. That shit's tearing up your face, man. Now, there have been religious exemptions that I think have gone too far all of a sudden just because to have them. But then again, it's not my call. I do not write policy on the religious exemption side of the house. But if you're going to do it one for all on the religious exemption side of the house, then I'm going to tell you what, they opened up the can of worms on that. They just did. It's bad enough. They don't even police soldiers up when they're not wearing their tops, or they're walking around Walmart with no top off, wearing Crocs or something like that. Every time we post it, everyone comes out swinging, defending it instead of enforcing the standard. I could have sworn AR 670-1 and DA PAM 670-1 was said it was going to be punitive. Right? Isn't that what they said? So I'm going to show you some pictures. And I'm talking about shaving bumps. Again, affects disproportionately. Or I should say, I from what I've seen and what I've experienced, the majority of most black soldiers that I've served with, some of them, and also family members, that because I come from a blended family. The PFB, the ingrown hairs. That's, if you're gonna kick people out for that, I think it's fucked up. Just gonna say it. Let me show you some pictures of it. I'm going to provide you a study from the Oxford Academic Military Medicine article. Matter of fact, I'll just, let me grab that article here so you guys can see it. A study that was done in 2021 that was done by Dr. Michael T. Tashuti and Sung Cho. They're both U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force doctors. And let me see. There you go. So again, the policy has not been released. I just want you guys to pump your brakes and freak out. But the way I'm seeing it and the way it's looking is that if you're going to process soldiers out for shaving bumps, I'm not talking about the religious exemption shit. I'm talking about the shaving bumps. It lately, specifically what they did with trans soldiers and how they have just you have this much time to do this, and you better get out, blah, 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 blah. It is literally, Dominic says it's literally a policy based off of criminal law that's a century old. The standard ought to be changed with regard to shaving in general. That's right. Yeah, exactly that, Dominic. Nice PFP, by the way. I like that cartoon character. Exactly that. Exactly that. I could not agree more. It is the policy of the gas, mask and all that. We've had black soldiers serving before. The study that I just dropped in the chat is pretty interesting because it goes back and discusses the whole story and the whole history. And these doctors did their research on this. And so if you guys just check it out, it opens up and gives you a little go. And exactly that, what you just said, Dominic, going all the way back to World War I. And I mean, I'll be honest with you, at the time, it probably made sense. It was originally discussed in a 1922 report, and it was not until 1956 that it investigated the association of PFB, which, also coined the popular term. So, I mean, this study that I'm dropping to you, you guys can see it in the WTF Nation Radio chats on Facebook, and matter of fact, I'll post that on Twitter as well. Also on the YouTubes. You'll notice that in seeing that, it's really freaking hard to say, yeah, this needs to, we need to stop this. Because I'm gonna tell you what, if you're gonna kick out soldiers for this, it's gonna look pretty obvious at who you've kicked out once the numbers come up. You know what I mean? So if you see the numbers come up where, hey, I'm kind of noticing that the majority of the individuals getting out or getting put out are going to, just going to say it, they're black soldiers. Has nothing to do with, hey, it's something that you're making, it has nothing to do with being woke, has nothing to do with whatever comment you want to make about it. It affects black soldiers. Now, my question too is that I wonder if it affects black women. When they shave. I'm not saying they're like their face or something like that, if they have any ailments or something like that, or if what it does. So I'm going to show you some pictures of the study that was done that I've seen soldiers and family members go through, and you're like, yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, why is this a problem now? Thank you, Insomniac. Why is it a problem now? So let me show you some pics right quick. Let me open this up right. I dropped the studies on Twitter, dropped the study in the Facebook chats. You guys can kind of ride along with me here and see what we got. There we go. Let me open this up here. Bam. All right. Hyperpigmentation and thickening of the skin mixed with PFP shows exactly what happens. Heavy scar tissue right there. You can see it. You can just see it. It's obvious. It's like, most people like to cut. It's funny when it's somebody else, it's razor burn, but when it's, a shaving profile, when somebody else. Let me show you some of the grooming teeth. They gave you some tops. So the article is going to cover some stuff like that. Again, here is right here was not uncommon post laser treatment. And this right here is the one that got me, dude. Holy crap! This right here. I have seen soldiers with this, that's how bad it gets. So you're going to sit there and let somebody have a cut up face like that. Thumper. Shit, I'm white and I get that sometimes. Glad I get that DD4. Yeah. Well, like I said, it affects the majority of it, are black soldiers. It's the way. That has nothing to do with specifically putting in somebody in a racial category. This is the most common the most common condition among black soldiers. And I just wanted to show you that right there because oh man, dude, I would, if I had a soldier show up to me like that, I'd be like, dude, let's go talk to some medics. Let's go talk to somebody. This shit needs to fucking. I ain't making you. God, man. If anything else, you would think wearing a protective mask or something like this, or in an NBC environment, would make it worse. Or in the conditions of training. Dominic, I love the guys with shaving profiles. Not gonna lie, my white ass was jealous. Nope, I have several family members. I have also have some friends, good friends of mine that served, have beards and stuff like that. I don't understand how it got so stupid. How it got so stupid with the. Now, of course, everyone likes to say, oh, well, the abuse of the system and all that. There you go. See, as soon as I said that, somebody commented. Matter of fact, let me see what Insomniac says. I've seen both sides of the coin. I've seen people abuse the shaving profile just because they don't want to get chewed out for not shaving, and I've seen people who need it bad. Exactly. I had a soldier who went through this, and I made sure I pushed for a profile. You damn right, I did the same thing, Anthony. And while the profile was in wait for approval, I just say, hey man, anytime, just don't hang out around the sergeant major until this shit. I'm serious, man, because I can't look at that picture. I can't. Nor should anybody look at this picture and say, yeah, we're going to kick you out because of something that we're making you do. It's been this, like I said, since World War I, this has been an issue. So it's not like everyone's like making it new. Now, if you're going after the guys that are profile writing, of course I get it. Totally understand. But again, this policy has not come out yet. So we don't know what's coming out. We don't. Yeah, exactly. Anthony, I was the same way. I was saying hey man, Sergeant Major's going to be coming down, man. All right, I'll see you. I'll be at the motor pool. There you go. I'll clear it out. Now, of course, the Marine Corps had rolled out a similar program allowing troops, and that was a Marine I just showed you, by the way, separated if a genetic sin condition that persists, also raising concerns of racial discrimination. I mean, look, dude, 14% of the U.S. population have accounted for roughly 1/4 of the Army's new recruits. Black soldiers, African-American men, black men. So it's kind of like, I don't like beards. There's a lot of people that are just straight up like that. Dude, we get shit in the inbox of somebody saying, I don't like that mustache. Now, there's some guys with some bright-eyed, bushy-tailed mustaches that I'm like, dude, really? I mean, come on. You really got to friggin'... And then, of course, when you shave a mustache, according to AR 680-1, the Army... It's almost like the Army purposely makes you want to look like a Hitler mustache. There's just some people who don't have the mouth for it. People with wider mouths or something like that. That presents a generally tapered appearance. Okay, that looks good. Some people have that. But some people with small mouths look like I'll say it, looks like they're posting a fucking Hitler mustache on. I was that corporal that would square away my guys before they get hemmed up instead of trying to get them hemmed up. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Damn, Anthony, you ain't lying. That's what being an NCO is all about. Correct. Just correct them. So it did become it did become a flashpoint back in the 70s. You got to remember, we came out of the Vietnam War, we were considered a hollow army at the time. And according to military.com, written by Steve Bannon, medical complications tied to mandatory shaving emerged as a flashpoint during the military's bumpy road towards racial integration. Early 1970s, then Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Elmo Zumwalt launched an aggressive campaign to root out racism and sexism in the ranks. As part of the push, Zumwalt, the now famous directive permitting soldiers to grow beards and mustaches that clash with the Navy's traditional. Hey man, I'm gonna have to look. Hey, I get it. There are just some things that what's next? That's what I'm saying. What's next? What's next? You know what I've kind of noticed as well? You know what I'm saying? Along with the mustaches and the beards, because we get that indirect stuff. We'll post something in the end. We'll post something. We'll post a screenshot of a text message. Hey, CSN told you needed to shave your mustache. That was just a mustache. But you know what I'm not seeing? Since we're talking about this, I've not seen the Alarak get updated for the hair, for the ponytails, for women. I've not seen that. Now, most Alaraks, what they do is they'll say, this Alarak, blah, 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 it expires at this time and will be submitted, and this portions of this Alarak will be used and updated in the next update of blah, 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 blah regulation, which is what the hair was for the ponytails for women. Kind of notice, did you notice it? Are you guys, oh, hang on, let me get my tinfoil here. You guys are noticing something? You guys are noticing that there's no Alarak update for women with their ponytails? Everyone's kind of quiet about that. Yeah, that 8th MP. Yeah. Oh man. Okay, you're talking about CSM Flournoy. Yeah, for back in the day, back in the days of the days of old, of the old scribes, of the old texts of WTF moments. Yeah. Well, her hair was obviously out of regs. Everyone knew that until she corrected it. And once she corrected it, then it was okay. The Army kind of like went overboard on that. She just said, hey, man, correct your shit. Nope. Army Times put her, I mean, they literally fucking said, hey, first released by US MP WTF Moments, which is no affiliation to us, but what's England's reason for having beards? And when we can't, we all look like operators. They all look like operators, and we were just babyface. Yeah, but yeah, just saying, dude. England, I don't know why you use. Yeah, England, Australia, they do have that. So to go back about that, everyone's like to argue, and every time we posted it, as a matter of fact, let's see the article. Let's see. Hang on. You guys want to see the comments? Let's just scroll the comments. Just kind of look at the comments and see what's up. Let me open up the screen cap here, and then let me get you guys the comments here. All right. So that way you guys, we could all look together. We can see the comments of the post at military.com. The Army's fascination with hair is riveting. And people are already putting their comments in there because obviously the higher percentage of black soldiers are the ones that are going to be effective. Everyone's already adding their comments. It's a catalyst for segregation. I'm trying to look for the one that I saw of. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say right here too. Hey, I'm just going to tell you right now, leaders, if you're going after your soldiers for posting on U.S. Army WTF Moments or WTF Nation Radio, but you're not chasing the fucking thirst traps that are on fucking TikTok, don't talk to us. Don't ask us to take it down. And don't let us find out you're going after your soldiers for offering their shit, for posting an opinion. Soldiers, fix our barracks. Leadership, best we could do is laser hair removal. Army, we can't meet retention numbers. We can't meet recruiting numbers. Also the Army. Let's kick everybody out. He's a showman problem because reasons. I swear it's just let the dudes and dudettes have beards. Yeah, exactly. What year did they start allowing ponytails for females? It was just a few years back. It's a couple years back, Susan. Let me see. Right. So spend 3 times the amount of money on paperwork, man hours, process just allowing men to be men. There you go. Another one here. Leadership. We should get everybody out with a shaving profile. But what about those religious exemptions? They're fine. Only those whose skins get irritated by shivering every day. Yeah, it seems like oddly targeted towards certain individuals. Is it because you can't grow a beard? Yes, that's what I was joking there. Somebody in there. Hey, I'm white, but I get this too. Thankfully, I'm Canadian, and they gave us beards. Ooh, that was a dig on from the Canadian military. And someone's all, getting murdered for shaving. Here we go. Now, again, this is all public. I'm not like highlighting it. This is not inbox. These are comments that are on the post at U.S. Army WTF Moments. And if we find out that commands are going after soldiers for posting this, for posting comments on WTF Moments, we'll let them know. We'll let you all know. Had a Korean Joe Mapatuna could not grow facial hair even after 4 years out in the field. I tried to get him a shaving profile. I tried to get a shaving profile. Okay, there you go. That's the abuse stuff that we were talking about. We've even had the female portion of our audience says the only thing that men have been asking for and they can't even get that. Since when did having a beard make you an ineffective soldier? I swear, talking to the heads must be allergic to making sense. Yep. Well, here's a good one. COVID shot refusal kicks people out. Weeks later, we don't have enough numbers and no one's joining. Supposedly gain record numbers in highest years. Beards got to get people out again. And where's the other one here? Invited back. That was a good one too. Invited back is another number to use. How many people have been invited back as opposed to people who've actually joined because of the jab? And that's a whole nother fucking topic. They got caught fudging their numbers. Yeah, so pretty good feedback here. Army's continued obsession with hair is fascinating. I just wish to see the dollar amount versus the beard versus no beard debate. Has cost talk. Somebody else with an optimistic approach to it. Blessing in disguise. Take the medical discharge and get paid, fellas. This isn't a beard. It's mold from the barracks and housing. Exactly that. Show up with a beard and say, you got to call DPW. You might be an outstanding NCO soldier, but the facial hairs will be draw the line. About to see some new Norse Vikings in our ranks. See, that's the thing. See, that's where we get into the discussion. We get into that hard talk, right? Everyone talks about, oh, you're Norse, you're Viking, blessed be to Odin, and all this other stuff. We have had leaders, and we have posted on U.S. Army WTF moments. Leaders have said, well, since when did you become a Viking? Ask that to a Christian or a Muslim soldier and see what happens. Since when did you become blah, blah, blah of a specific religion? I don't know. What makes you want to join a religion? There's some things that make you want to join a religion, right? Is it your right as a leader to ask? Why did you become a Muslim? There's going to be some black Vikings soon. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You never know, dude. Yeah. So it's man. So again, these are just revisions and we don't know what's out. Everyone's panicking, but it's kind of like looking at the, Task and Purpose did an article too about it and was discussing a lot of the beardage and the beard stuff. And I'm going to say right now, dude, they need to come out and be specific. Again, and I'm going to say this again. For all the hills to die on is the beards. And the reason why I say that is because we can't even get leaders. We can't even get leaders to police their soldiers in fucking parking lots being in complete uniform, but you want to shove a fucking beard drama all on a soldier's face. No pun intended. All in their face. No Army spokesperson has said, it's clear, quote, that we've lost control on our standard when it came to be clean shaven. You fucking think? How about staying in uniform as well? Or how about stop posting in social media as well? Or how about stop TikToking thirst traps, guys and gals? Beards. That's what we're beards. That's it, right? Numbers go back and forth. Nobody can, and that's another thing too. Because of our inaccurate methods of keeping track, or because the Army does not want to release or does not want to accurately portray something to piss off. It almost seems like lately public affairs has been I don't know. We don't want to say something because we don't want to get in trouble type of thing. It's almost like if I say something and report this, and someone's going to fire me for reporting it because I don't want nobody to, I don't want to get fired. It commonly affects up to 60% of black men and is most common reasons why the waiver is being issued. So how many people do we actually have it? Jane. Now you got me on. Jane in the comments says, what about the other facial hair? Any men get shit for their unibrow? Okay, now, all right, I don't have a unibrow, but now I have light gray hair, so now I'm going to get my eyebrows plucked. Now you got me subconscious about my eyebrows. See my eyebrows? They look right. Of all the things to die on the hill, I mean, again, Army officials told Task and Purpose that the policies being developed were not driven by race or any intent to target a particular race. A spokesperson said that soldiers require extended waivers due to PFP could face separation as a result, but so could soldiers dealing with other medical conditions. You got told to shave it? Jane got told to shave. Wait. Oh, Jamie, I'm sorry. Jamie, did I say that right? Are you Jamie? Jamie, can't see your PFP very well here, so. I support mandatory unibrows. No, I'm just saying, exactly. You're going to go down this path. Oh, man. You got told to shave your unibrow. I mean, damn. Then you should tell the sergeant major, you need to shave your ear hair. For all the older leaders, you need to shave that ear hair. How about that? Yeah, or the long nose hairs, yeah. Oh, man. Howard said, and this is the spokesperson, Lieutenant Colonel Orlandon Howard, said that part of the revised policies is the Army developing would be giving unit commanders more authorities and allowing waivers. Okay, which means there's going to be a lot of NCOs that are going to get fucking turned away because there's going to be somebody that's not going to like it. Again, we're on a like thing now. Leaders have always been like this. In the years that I've worked at WTIP Moments and WTIP, we've always seen it. It's always a like, oh, I don't like thing. Never an adherence to an actual policy. Fist of brows. Guys. Agree, only for fisters are to have a unibrow. Okay. Howard said one part of the revised policy the Army is developing would to give unit commanders, they will be more involved in the process and have more leeway when it comes to deciding whether or not to allow soldiers an exemption in a grooming policy. I'm see how that works out. The Army following a policy that goes by with whatever. I mean, we had sort of kind of like the exemption drama that was going on during COVID. We saw how that got fucked up. The Marine Corps enacted a similar policy earlier this year.